Pirouz Nahavandi was a soldier, blacksmith, carpenter, and windmill designer, and his name indicates his origins in the ancient city of Nahavand. After the fall of Iran to the Rashidun Caliphate, Pirouz Nahavandi was captured and used as a slave by the Arabs. Pirouz was sent to the Hejaz region and owned by a man named Mu'ira bin Shuba. After some time, Pirouz found his way to Umar ibn al-Khattab's court. He was Umar's favorite slave and gave Firouz more money rather other slaves. Firouz was upset about the situation of other Iranians as captives, so he asked Umar to improve the situation for them. After Umar ignored him, Pirouz planned to assassinate the caliph. His mission was successfully done and the caliph was assassinated. Firouz then fled, but it is not certain how he died as there are different stories about his death. But the most believable story tells us that he killed himself after he was surrounded by military forces sent to capture him. Pirouz Nahavandi was a soldier, blacksmith, carpenter, and windmill designer, and his name indicates his origins in the ancient city of Nahavand. After the fall of Iran to the Rashidun Caliphate, Pirouz Nahavandi was captured and used as a slave by the Arabs. During the later years of the Sasanian Empire, there were whispers of Arab invasions into Iran, and the Sasanian government was weakened. Additionally, they had to prepare themselves for a foreign war. In the Sasanian army, there was a soldier named Pirouz Nahavandi. There isn't much information available about the early days of Pirouz Nahavandi's life, but sources consider two places as his birthplace, the first being the city of Nahavand, located in Hamadan province, and the second being the city of Khasan. It is likely that Pirouz Nahavandi was born in Khasan, but it is clear from his family background that he originally hailed from Nahavand. Pirouz Nahavandi was a highly skilled and hard-working individual. He was not only skilled in various crafts but also a patriotic soldier. Whenever a war arose, he would don his battle attire, join the Sasanian army, and fight against the enemies. Ultimately, he participated in the war between the Sasanians and the Arabs, which marked the downfall of the Sasanian Empire. The fall of the Sasanians marked the end of a magnificent and unparalleled civilization in Iran that had its roots with the Medes, reached its zenith with the Achaemenids, underwent transformation with the Parthians, and solidified under the Sasanians. A new chapter in Iranian history began as the Arabs gained full control over Iran, ushering in an era of subjugation and captivity, one of the most bitter periods in Iranian history. Women and children were taken as captives, and those who were studying in Sasanian classrooms just a few years prior were now enslaved and sent to Arab households to work. Iranian women who were captured were divided among the conquering forces, with each Arab conqueror taking a group of Iranian women for themselves. Iranian men were deeply outraged by these events, but they lacked the means to change the situation. Pirouz Nahavandi, who had fought in the defeated Sasanian army, could not resist and was taken captive by the Arabs. This was not the first time Pirouz Nahavandi had been taken as a captive. It is said that he was once captured by the Romans and, during that time, he interacted with the Romans, learned about Christianity, and developed an inclination towards it, shifting from Zoroastrianism to Christianity. However, many reject this theory, claiming that there was no such conversion and that he remained Zoroastrian until the end. Pirouz Nahavandi, along with other captives, was taken to the Hejaz region, where he worked in the caliph's households. During that time, Omar Ibn Khattab did not allow Iranians to enter the city of Medina, considering it a holy city, and he believed that Iranians, as fire worshippers, are not allowed to enter. Therefore, captives were taken to other cities, where they were put to work. Pirouz Nahavandi was present in the Hejaz region and held a deep grudge against the caliphs of the Hejaz. He witnessed firsthand how Iranian women and children were mistreated and disrespected, and how these caliphs subjected them to harassment and abuse. Pirouz Nahavandi entered the service of an individual named Mo'ir bin Shubar and became his captive. Later on, Mo'ir changed Pirouz's name to Abu Lulu. The story goes back to Pirouz's child. Pirouz had a daughter named Morvarid, which translates to Lulu in Arabic. They named her father Abu Lulu, meaning father of Morvarid, and later, other people in the same region referred to Pirouz using this name. Some books also mention Pirouz Nahavandi by this title. There are two stories about how Pirouz Nahavandi entered the court of Omar Ibn Khattab. The first story tells us that the news reached Umar that there was an Iranian slave who was highly skilled and talented, capable of performing various tasks such as blacksmithing and painting. Umar decided to have Pirouz brought to him from the household of Mo'ir bin Shubar, and he was allowed to enter Umar's court. It is said that Pirouz began working there, and his relationship with Umar improved over time to the extent that Umar had a high level of trust in him and rewarded him generously. The rewards given to Pirouz were several times greater than what other Iranian captives received. The second theory presents a completely different narrative. According to this account, Mo'ir bin Shubar, in order to get closer to Umar and establish a better relationship with him, decided to offer Pirouz, through a letter, as a gift to Umar. By doing so, he hoped to build a stronger friendship with Umar. Mo'ir offered Pirouz to Umar, claiming, in his letter, that he had a highly skilled and versatile Iranian slave who could be presented as a gift to Umar's court. Umar initially refused, stating that Medina was a sacred city and Iranians cannot enter. However, Mo'ir made persuasive offers and was insistent that Pirouz would be of great value to Umar. Eventually, Umar agreed, and Pirouz was allowed to enter Umar's court. Pirouz Nahavandi managed to prove himself in Umar's court and excelled in various tasks. In addition to his duties at the court, he also established a separate business for himself. Other people in the city would come to him for carpentry and blacksmithing work. However, a portion of his earnings had to be sent to Mo'ir because he was his original owner. Furthermore, Umar imposed taxes on Pirouz Nahavandi, and all of these factors combined made life difficult for Pirouz, and his living conditions were not favorable. These were just a few of the problems Pirouz faced. On the other hand, there were issues related to the insulting behaviors of the Rashidun caliphs towards Iranian captives, which were becoming increasingly worse and more oppressive, causing humiliation to Iranian men. Iranian men's pride was constantly hurt by the Rashidun caliphs, and they felt helpless. One day, Pirouz Nahavandi decided to go to Umar's court and complain about the incidents that were taking place. He went to Umar and told him that the treatment towards Iranian captives was not good at all, and they felt humiliated every day and that many of them were living in poverty and hardship. Umar paid no attention to Pirouz's complaints and angrily ordered him to leave the court. Pirouz Nahavandi decided to devise a plan to take revenge against Umar. He started thinking and planned to assassinate Umar as a way to seek revenge for the mistreatment of Iranians. One day, Umar called Pirouz and said, "I've heard that you are highly skilled in building windmills. I want you to build a windmill for me." Pirouz Nahavandi thought for a moment and replied, "I will build a windmill for you in such a way that its reputation will reach the borders of the east and west, and no one in the world has ever seen anything like it." He then requested some professional tools and equipment to be provided to him so that he could start constructing the windmill. They provided Pirouz Nahavandi with a set of technical tools, and he began building the windmill. Every time they visited him, they saw him busy working on this windmill. However, alongside the windmill, he was also working on crafting a dagger. This dagger had a handle in the middle, with two blades on both sides, and it was unlike anything seen anywhere in the world until that day. Since Pirouz was highly skilled in blacksmithing, he successfully completed the construction of this unique dagger, and no one doubted him. The long-awaited day had arrived. It was the day when the operation was to be executed, an operation that essentially meant the assassination of Umar. According to Abdul Hussein Zarin-Kub's account in the book 2 Centuries of Silence, it is said that Pirouz Nahavandi was not the only one who intended to carry out this assassination. Rather, Iranians present in the Hejaz region had orchestrated this plan behind the scenes, and they had devised the plot for the assassination a long time ago. Pirouz Nahavandi's sole responsibility was to execute the plan. On the appointed day, Umar entered the mosque for the morning prayer. It was dawn, and the atmosphere was still dimly lit. The congregation had formed behind Umar. Since many people trusted Pirouz Nahavandi, he regularly attended the mosque and positioned himself in the front row. As the prayer commenced, Pirouz Nahavandi discreetly drew the dagger from beneath his clothing and moved toward Umar. He delivered 6 blows to Umar's back and abdomen. Umar was bathed in blood, and Umar's companions rushed to capture Pirouz Nahavandi. Pirouz, wielding the same dagger, struck those around Umar. It is said that 6 to 8 people inside the mosque were killed with that same dagger. Pirouz then fled from the mosque, and they were unable to apprehend him. Regarding the fate of Pirouz Nahavandi after Umar's assassination, there are numerous stories told. In one of the stories, it is said that Pirouz Nahavandi left Arabia with the help of Ali ibn Abi Talib and arrived in Khorasan, where he lived in secrecy for 11 years due to his close relationship with Ali. Eventually, the Arabs captured him in Khorasan and executed him there. In another story, it is mentioned that after killing Umar, Pirouz Nahavandi remained in hiding in the vicinity but was ultimately surrounded by military forces present in the area, leading him to realize the limited options he had. In order to escape captivity and end the servitude and bondage, Pirouz Nahavandi plunged his famous dagger into his own abdomen and committed suicide. The second story is considered more credible based on reliable sources and the personality of Pirouz himself. After the murder of Umar, his son Abdullah ibn Umar sought revenge. He went after the wife and young daughter of Pirouz Nahavandi. He ordered the arrest of Pirouz Nahavandi's wife and daughter. Pirouz Nahavandi's wife and daughter were arrested upon the orders of Abdullah ibn Umar. This Arab caliph, in further pursuit of his vengeance, also ordered the execution of 2 Sasanian commanders, Hormozan, who had recently converted to Islam, and Jafina, who was originally a Christian from Iran. Hormozan's death enraged other Arab caliphs. The other Arab caliphs had ordered that Abdullah be arrested and punished for shedding the blood of a Muslim, as it was not intended for them to kill Muslims. However, from Abdullah's perspective, Iranians were worthy of death, whether they became Muslims or not. Abdullah continued to kill several other Iranians, and it is unclear whether they were Muslims or not, but he shed the Iranians' blood without hesitation. Ultimately, Abdullah was killed in a conventional battle known as the Battle of Siffin, which took place in an area called Siffin in the western regions of Iraq. Pirouz Nahavandi was a true Iranian. He stood against Omar Ibn Khattab, who had issued the order to attack Iran, and sought revenge for the bloodshed of the victims of al-Qadisiyah and the thousands of Iranian women and children who had become captives. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like it, and share it with your friends. Do not hesitate to provide your view regarding this video by putting your comments below. Your comments would help us to improve our work, and also, they help us to take your views into account for the future topics that we select. Furthermore, you can subscribe to our channel to become aware of our new videos.